I primarily consume fantasy books. I've been doing that for the last 13 years of my life, and I'll be damn if I let any of you nobodies on the internet shame me. Hi, welcome or welcome back. My name is Anna, and if you enjoy reading vlogs, book reviews, the occasional controversial bookish hot take, don't forget to subscribe since it's free 99. And with that being said, we're gonna get right into our beginning of the year book tag. Now, I saw this video by Mariana Reads, and I'll leave the questions in the description below, and I'll also tag her. And I think she says Laurie Reads does this, but I watched this from Mariana. And so we're just going to get right into our questions. So, our first question is, how many books are you planning to read in 2026? Now, in 2025, I did set my goal for 100. I only read 19. In 2024, I think I set it for still 100 or something similar, and I didn't read close to my goal or half my goal. And so for this year, as much as I don't want to set a goal, I'm a goal-oriented person, so I'm going to set my reading goal for 60 books. So I do plan to read 60 books. It's currently, I think we're in February and I still haven't finished one book, so yikes. Let me know, how many books do you plan to read this year? Then we have a book you're likely to reread this year. Now, I recently did a video. I think I did a authors versus trend where I mentioned A Song of Achilles. So I definitely do want to reread A Song of Achilles. And I do want to reread my best book of 2024, which is Divine Rivals. So definitely do want to reread that too. Also, I've been craving Me Before You for some reason, so I might also reread that book. So just a few. I have so many books I want to read this year, but those are just three that I definitely want to reread this year. So for question 3, we have a prior to read for 2026. Now, a prior to read for 2026, I'd have to say that will have to go to, I have 2 books. This is Children of Blood and Bone. I've been saying Children of the Blood Moon for the longest while, but it's Children of Blood and Bone. And I also do want to read the book Thief. This is a book I've been dying to read for like the longest while. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Children of Blood and Moon, Blood and Bone. I think that's becoming a movie. And so I definitely do want to read the book before the movie. So I do have all these questions on my computer that side, so I will be looking that side from time to time. And so an author you won't be reading more books of this year. Now, for some reason, I do not connect very well with, what's her name? Emily Henry's book. So if there's an author that I won't be reading books from this year, I would have to say Emily Henry. I have to confess, I don't really like romance books that much. And there's something about her books, her romance book. The only books that I liked from her was Happy Place, and it had nothing to do with the romance, more so the friendship. So if she writes more books that's the friendship is the underlining theme, then I'll read it, but I won't be reading books from her per se for the romance. So for my something new I want to read in 2026, I'm gonna have to say that will be the Thorg Man. Now, I'm not sure if I will be able to find a picture that matches the book online, so I'm gonna reach on my bookshelf because it's right here. So something new I want to read this year would be this. I hope that I don't know. Okay, there it is. That it's about it's during wartime, I think, or narrative or narrator. He found like a manuscript and he's gonna try to get that published, if I'm not mistaken. But that's a book that I got like when I went to Delaware back in May of last year, and it was in the dollar store. And so I got it, and I've been meaning to read it, but then I went on like really, really long book slump or where I just didn't have time or wasn't making enough time to read or something. And so I didn't really get to it, but I definitely do want that's going to be my something new to read this year. I haven't really seen anything about this book, and so I definitely do want to read it. So, as far as most anticipated book releases of 2026, I don't really follow book releases, to be honest. So I have no, as far as books that are being released this year, I I have no idea. I normally just but when I'm not buying books, which I don't buy that many books, over the last I started buying books heavily in 2023. We're in 2026 now. Over the last 3 years, I've acquired 133 books, a bulk of which I get primarily from my local library. There's a library near me that does book sales every May, and I'll get a bunch of books from that. And if I see a book that I like at my dollar store, so I don't really buy a lot of books, so I don't really follow a lot of book releases. Whenever I'm looking something new to read, I normally just go to my library. So as far as look book releases I'm looking forward to, I'm not really looking forward to anything in any books per se in 2026. So a bookish goal I have for 2026 is it's gonna be a little bit redundant, especially since this is a reading channel. I want to read more. And when I say I want to read more is like I'm that person who I will go on TikTok to upload one video and I'll be on TikTok for 4 hours just scrolling. So I want to replace a lot of my like per se on-screen time with reading. Like I'll be having breakfast and I'll watch a TikTok video. I'll be folding laundry and I'll watch a TikTok video. I'll be doing cleaning my room. No, I was about to lie. When I'm cleaning my room, I watch Lord of the Rings. But I'll be doing something else. I'll be like filing my taxes, watching TikTok. Like so all I want to replace those little moments with reading, even if it's in the form of an audiobook. So that's one of my bookish goal per se as far as 2026 is concerned. So a book on my TBR that I probably won't ever read. I would say more like I probably won't ever finish. I have that will be King of Rat. I started, I got to page 112. Wasn't really, I'm gonna say vibing, which is not really the word I want to use. I I think the book was overhyped, and as a result of it being overhyped, I went in with a lot of expectations. One of the reasons why I don't like reading popular book. So I went in with a lot of expectations. It was not meeting any of my expectations, and so I I honestly don't think I'll finish it. I have this weird feeling where I really don't like DNFing books because I think it does the book an injustice, and I kind of want to DNF more books, but I've been having like a part of me wants to go back and give it like a second chance and try to pretend that I know nothing about this book and read it and see if I'll enjoy it. And a part of me is like, no, no. So a series I want to read this year, I'm gonna say it's a Crimson Moth duology, and also I do it's not called Six of Crows duology. I don't remember what it's called, but it's Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. I do want to read that duology as well. And I know I won't finish, but I do want to start reading The Eye of the World, The Eye of the World, Eye of the World. Whatever that series is called, The Wheel of Time. I do at least want to start reading The Wheel of Time. There's so many series I want to per se read, but I'm gonna start off with the duologies first because those are like a lot easier to finish. You know, it's just 2 books versus a 16 book series. All right, so as far as auto by authors goes, um I love Divine Rivals and Rootless Vow. So any book that Rebecca Ross, I've read other books by her, they weren't like per se as good as Divine Rivals. And it had nothing to do with the writing because I do love Rebecca Ross's writing. There's something about the way she wrote. she writes. So I'll buy any book she sells. So I'm just saying that, sometimes you don't vibe with a book, but it had nothing to do per se the writing, more like you didn't really like the plot line. So any book that Rebecca Ross publishes in 2026, I definitely do want to get my hands on. Also, I do want to get my hands on special editions of Divine Rivals. I've seen them, and I normally don't like buying special edition of book, but Divine Rival has it's the letters of enchantment duology has that place in my this is my heart. It has like if there's a book that ever lived inside of me, it's gonna be Divine Rivals. And so that as much as I also want to reread it, I'm just so afraid that I'm gonna reread it and I don't know. So yes, any book that Rebecca Ross publishes in 2026, I'll definitely be buying. No doubts about it. So, a book to show adaptation you're excited about, and that will go to The Children of Blood and Moon. Now, I don't remember exactly what the book entails, but I know Book Chat Shelley did talk a little bit about it, and I kind of really loved, based on that little synopsis. And so the minute I heard that that's going to turn into a movie, I was like, I have to read these books because I have this thing where I like reading books before I watch a TV show or a movie because I think I enjoy them better that way. So, yeah. So, a sequel you're anticipating now, confession. I did not read a lot of books in 2025. Not a confession, I did say that earlier. Only read like 19 books, most of which were not if they were not duologies. I don't think I read any duology last year. I did start a few. I did started Heartless Hunter, and so I got to like page 73. I kind of love what I read so far. So if I was to say wink wink a duology that or sequence that I'm looking forward to in 2026, I'll have to say Rebel Witch. Yeah. Also, it would still be a lie to say I'm anticipating it because I haven't finished reading Heartless Hunter. So we're gonna have to get back to that. Never. So bookish things you're leaving in 2025. Now, I'm not even gonna answer too much. I'm gonna leave a link to the video I made because I made a video called 25 Things I'm Leaving in 2025. Also leave a link to that down below. But I want to say one thing, book shaming. I think that we need to stop shaming people for how they consume book. I'm talking whether book format, whether they only read Kindle books or physical books or audiobooks, genres. What I primarily read fantasy. And if you've been here long enough, I've this is something I've been doing since I was say 15 when I decided I'm done with romance. I primarily consume fantasy books. I've been doing that for the last 13 years of my life. And I'll be damn if I let any of you, nobodies on the internet, shame me. So let me read so what if girls want to, or women, I want to say women, because I think that calling grown ass females, girls, is very degrading. So what if the ladies want to read smut all day and read about these shadow daddies, as you call them, or these morally gray men? What if they want to read dark romance all day? Who the hell are you to tell them that they can't? Like, what kind of dictatorship you think we're living under, even though I probably shouldn't have used that word. Yikes. Anyways, book shaming. I'm leaving that. We all should be leaving that in 2025. Take your book, read your book, and shut your mouth. Simple. So, what to expect from this channel now? I'm gonna say consistency. I've been very inconsistent, and if you've sat through my little intro, I'll be making reading vlogs, and I'll be doing in-depth book reviews. I do want to do more in-depth book reviews. I don't know. I love doing book reviews in high school when I had to do them, so I do want to make some more in-depth, book reviews. I also do want to tap in or be more a part of the bookish community and just voice my feedback on things that I may or may not like. Like I've done a few of those where I did the author versus trend, and I'll leave these videos down below. I did or these book talk versus something, or these books good. I've done a few of those, and I do have a few more that I do have coming. I don't want this channel just to be reading vlogs, because I was recently in a car crash. And so I'm away from work, and when I do work, I work 4 days a week, 10-hour shifts. Um, and so a lot of times I do want to contribute to the bookish community, and it won't always be reading vlogs. Sometimes it'll be book reviews. Sometimes it'll be like, sharing book recommendations and stuff like that. So all of which you'll have to subscribe to know more about anyway. So why am I even telling you this if you're not going to stay here? Like, subscribe. So how has your reading level evolved from last year? Every year I say I want to branch out. I want to read more books, or I want to read different genres. And every year I read just fantasy. So this year I'm not gonna lie to myself. I'd love to say that my reading has evolved, but at the same time it hasn't. I Percy Jackson has still been one of my favorite books. When it comes on to, I still love 50 Shades of Grey. I read it at 17 and I loved it. And I'm currently planning to reread it. I still love kids book about dragons and stuff. That's me. Like, I would love to say that my reading has evolved, but I like what I like. And I don't want to sit at home and read a bunch of quote unquote literary fiction just to make other people happy. I have read more romance books than I would like to. So as far as evolution goes, is I'm gonna have to say that I don't think I have evolved, and that's a shame. I have branched out, as in I try to read as much from different authors as possible, and I try to be as diverse and read from different racial groups. But I don't do parasocial relationships, so I sometimes I could be reading a book and have no idea what the author looks like. And so, as far as diversity goes, unless I'm out directly looking for diversity, I don't know how diverse my reading is in terms of authors from different racial walks of life. And so, I don't want to make it my point of duty to get to know more about these authors, but I do want to make it my point to ensure that I'm reading from all walks of life and I'm not just reading comfort books. I like, I don't I don't I don't like reading books about certain topics. I like to stay in my comfort zone. So as far as evolution go, I'll try to go out of my comfort zone as comfortably as myself will allow me, because I do struggle with a little bit of social anxiety, and I don't feel well when I can sense awkward situations. Like if I'm watching a TV show and I see that there's something awkward that's gonna happen, I'll just stop. I've started watching so many movies, and because I think that there's an awkward scene coming up, I just stop and I never go back to them. So I'm not someone who socially likes going out of my comfort zone, because it really does trigger me. And so as much as I would like to say I will try, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I will try. If you get that, you get that, and if you don't, then I'm sorry. I'm not the best sometimes at explaining stuff. Booktuber creators who inspire you. I'm gonna say by default the only booktuber that I can directly say I know is, I know Marianne reads, because there's been some controversial stuff surrounding her, so I know her. She reads a lot of dark romance book or some other books. She loves everyone loves Fort Wing, so I'm not even gonna say that. But I do love Alexa Ray, and there are a bunch of other booktubers that do inspire me, but I don't know their name. Oh, Leo. Oh my God, her name is Leo something. She makes some really nice book takes. And there's another one, Carrie Reads. She does these, oh my God, she does these wicked ass braid. Actually, she did Metal Swinger. And like I've never read any Sarah J. Maas thing, but she does these two Carrie Reads. She does these 2 3 hour um book book breakdowns about Akatar, or she did one about a Throne of Glass and something. I had no idea what she was talking about, but let me tell you, I sat my ass down and I watched a 2 hour, I think it's 230 something minutes. Yeah, very inspirational. Very. Yes. Something I want to say to anyone who wants to start a bookish account. I would say just start because that sounds very basic. Just know your lighting is gonna be shit. The audio is gonna be shit. I have 157 subscribers, so this video, the audio in this video is probably shit. Um, there's gonna be a point where people are gonna be more interested in your personality than per se the books that you actually read. I tried on 5 shirts before I started this video because I'm like, I don't want them to see my bra. I don't want people to see my tits on the internet. I I normally I don't primarily don't wear makeup, but whenever I'm gonna do these videos, I will put on a little makeup. I will tell you to be yourself because if you don't be yourself, people are gonna know. But it's the internet, everyone's performative. If you're not gonna be yourself, just try to be as authentic as possible. When I edit my videos, I say a lot and they'll tell you to edit them out. And I usually I would try, but that's how I speak when I'm nervous and I'm nervous when I do these videos. So I'll say the wrong word and I'll correct myself and I leave that in. If you don't want to watch a video where I show you how imperfect I am, then you're just not for me. So you're gonna have to know what version of yourself you want to put out there, and this is the version I put out there. I say dumb shit sometimes. I don't swear a lot online, but I do in real life. I smile a lot. I'm a smiley person. If you don't like people who smile, then I don't know. If you like, I'll smile a lot because I can see myself and I'm recording myself. If I can't see myself, then I probably any video you don't see me smile a lot on. Best believe probably because I can't see myself. Like when I can see myself, I'll be moving my hands a lot and just start and put your own spin on things. Like I crochet and I might think that's unique, but a bunch of other people crochet. I have this guitar my mom gave me. I've been trying to learn to play for years. I haven't learned. Just put your twist, you know put a look. It's more like when you start, we want to see. It's just like how if I'm if you blindfold me and you start playing Alexa Ray video, I can tell it's Alexa Ray versus Carrie Reed versus. So although you're all of us are probably doing similar stuff, you just have to imprint yourself basically in the bookish community. And that can be like maybe it's your breakdown of books, maybe it's the way you talk about books, maybe it's something, and you don't be afraid to think that the market is oversaturated or whatever. Like there's a lot of people and no matter how many people there are, it's just I have a booktube account and I watch booktube accounts. Like in my free time when I have nothing to do, I love those 24-hour reading vlogs. So just, start and just be or maybe there's a type of video that you would love to watch on maybe there's a type of video you'd like to watch on booktube. You could create those. There could be a market for people who like those kind of videos. You never know. I'm like, I would say I'm nobody, but I'm somebody. I'm just someone with 157 subscribers. So for all I know, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I can just tell you to start and be you. And if you plan to start a YouTube anytime soon, let me know down in the comment below. But yeah, I have booktubers that I watch religiously. Like they post something and I know. I'm just saying. So like I said, just start. You don't need a camera. You probably need to have somewhat of good lighting. but you can use your phone. I use my phone or one of my phones, and you just get a good microphone. This microphone may be shit, but work with what you have until you can have what you want to work with, basically. So, I think we're at the end of our video, and thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful year, month, week, day, hour, minute, second. Keep devouring those books, you beautiful bookworm. And like I started saying, if I haven't been cancelled, I'll see you in my next video. Bye.